Hey, Steve Wiedemann here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about breadcrumbs. Those are the breadcrumbs you see in Google search results, as well as the breadcrumbs that you have on your website to help keep your pages organized. So what's important when we think about breadcrumbs in general is for users, it gives them a way to navigate back to a category or to the homepage of your website. There's nothing more frustrating than performing a Google search, finding the page that you're looking for and going, wow, I wonder if they have more content under this category. Or maybe you're looking at a product detail and you want to look at more products in that category. Without having that breadcrumb at the very top of the page, there's no way for the user to be able to get to that page or to that category without going to the top navigation and working their way all the way through to where they want to be. So it's a really quick, simple way for users to reverse navigate. For search engines, it's also a great way for them to help understand your directory structure. We call that taxonomy and how we organize themes of content on our website. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll talk a little bit more about breadcrumbs, give you some examples, and show you how to implement. Okay, so what you see on my screen is a search result for the query self-storage Blake, Denver, Colorado. At the top, you see a paid ad, you see a Google Maps section, and the first organic result here is public storage. Public storage has their home URL here. They could also replace that with just the name public storage with a little structured markup, which we'll talk about in a minute. They've got locations, and they've got Colorado. And then this is the actual page that goes to their location off Blake Street in Denver, Colorado. And there are other storages in that same area on that same street, none of which really have that same breadcrumb structure. So you can see extra space here. You can see a few other results, but none of them have this really sharp looking, clean breadcrumb structure. So how do you get that? Well, first you actually have to have a clean directory structure. I'll show you how we did our site. Right now I'm in the services category of content that I have on the back end of Wiedemann.com. And on this site you can see how we organized our content into categories. So we've got expert witness, inbound marketing audits, and inbound marketing services. And within each of those categories, we have specific content. The final content is what we call the child page, or the property level page. Or if you're an e-commerce website, it's your product level web page. The top is the parent. And if it goes even deeper, there might even be a grandparent, which is a top level category, if your folder structure runs that deep. So with that in mind, when we think about the output of what that creates is if somebody were to look at the navigation, and the navigation were organized intuitively and in a nice silo the way we looked at it a moment ago, you'd see that same system organized with parent page and child page. When that happens, it really helps Google understand how much supportive content you have around this parent category. So if I did a good job with this, I should be able to, in at least in a short period of time, be able to query SEO expert witness and have this top level category appear. Probably going to take some time because it is a competitive keyword. But what about some of these lesser competitive search terms? Now that I've organized this content well, what does it look like? Let's open up an incognito window and test. So I did a search for sued by an SEO agency. Let's see if my page is coming up yet. This is a brand new page of content. There it is, sued by an SEO agency. Notice my breadcrumb structure, Wiedemann.com, services, expert witness. Super simple, easy to understand, and very organized for search engines and users. Well, great. Well, how do we do that? How do we get those pretty little breadcrumbs in the search results? Let's take a look at what public storage did to be able to get these pretty breadcrumbs in the search results. If we go to their website here, this is the actual page that appears when you click on that first listing. And you'll notice at the top up here, let me zoom in. You'll notice at the top we've got these beautiful breadcrumbs over here. Here's the actual final page, which technically you don't really need. It's kind of redundant to what we have usually in the H1, but it's perfectly acceptable and search engines are used to seeing that. We've got a parent page. My recommendation would not be to have this excessive zip code page, but instead to make this the parent page. But here it is. Here's the parent page that contains a list of locations that are in that area. or the parent page on a lead generation website that might have a list of content underneath it. And then the state, and then the locations, and then home. So what if you didn't want to go to Blake Street? What if Blake Street was booked and they didn't have any open storage facilities? Well, you could easily go back to the parent category and see what other locations are available. Without this breadcrumb system, you would have to start at the top and work your way down. You would literally have to go to the footer of the website, probably find the specific area, view all, take 5 minutes to actually find the page, which is not a good user experience. So instead, just create that parent page, put the breadcrumb in here at the top, and you're good to go. So what do they do? Let's take a look at the markup. When we use this really cool tool that they have that Google offers called the Structured Data Testing Tool. Here it is. I popped that URL right into this testing tool. I clicked on Fetch and Validate, and over here to the right, along with some other structured data, there is an area called Breadcrumb List. And in Breadcrumb List, you can see, of course, Google apparently likes our breadcrumbs because everything here is good to go. It says all good. And then you can see exactly what Google sees and how this site might be organized. Homepage, locations, state, city, that zip code that I would get rid of, and then the final page. So it's a nice organized way for Google to understand the directory structure of the website. So to get this, what you can implement is already available to you. You literally just need to copy and paste. Be careful of using extensions or plugins. There's a lot of businesses now that are installing plugins that do structured markup, but don't really display the information to the user. Instead, they just display it to the search engine. And they're getting a lot of warnings in their webmaster tools about using structured markup to sort of spam search results. The user should see everything that the search engine sees, at least from an output perspective. So if you're going to use it, make sure it's actually on the page. Don't hide your breadcrumbs or put it in a style sheet that says, display none or something like that. So recently, Google started being able to support this JSON-LD. You can see all of the different attributes. This particular one is schema.org. There's RDFA and microdata and all sorts of other ways to do this. The popular trend at the moment, the easiest way, the standard, if you will, is this JSON-LD. And here you can see it's a breadcrumb list. It's the list item. The position is going to be the first position. Then it's the URL and then the name. And then you go to the next one, list item number 2, right? And then the ID and then the name, so on and so forth. And that's basically it in a nutshell. It's very simple to implement. You put that on your website, you put in the correct URLs and what you'd like them to say, you format it, on your own, using your own style sheet, and then the end results hopefully will be this beautiful, all good result from Google's structured data testing tool. And that is how you get these beautiful little breadcrumbs within the search result, by simply adding that schema or RDFA or microdata and using the testing tool to validate. And then you wait about a week or two, and pretty soon you'll see those results. Why that's important to SEO is because, again, it provides a cleaner output, a cleaner listing to users who see this, and again, it helps search engines understand how your site's organized. Anyway, that is Breadcrumbs in a nutshell. Definitely recommend it. If you're smart when you're thinking about your parent category, you'll use some keywords. You'll notice that in Public Storage's case, they didn't just put Denver, Colorado. They put self-storage in Denver, Colorado, which is kind of smart. If you look at Skechers, right? They just put Anaheim in theirs, where there's probably an opportunity to put shoe stores in Anaheim. If we look at, say, Meineke, it's another one where we've got a good example of what we do with breadcrumbs. With theirs, they used auto repair in Anaheim, since all their locations specialize in auto repair. What this does is it creates an internal link within the breadcrumb to a page around auto repair and in the city. And you'll see a lot of businesses doing that. It helps the search engines know what that category is about, and it helps the user know that they can expect more of this type of content in this city. And of course, the value of anchor text and how it applies to SEO long term. Google uses anchor text is sort of an introduction to the page that it's going to. So is this page about Anaheim, or is this page about auto repair in Anaheim? So it gives it a little bit more of an intuitive message about what they can expect when they get to that page. All right, that's it for Breadcrumbs. This is Steve Wiedemann. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.